Hi, this is Dr. Steve Weinberg, 911 Vets PriVET, and I'm going to demonstrate how to handle the cat when you're doing subcutaneous fluids or giving injections or giving pills. So the reason for giving subcutaneous fluids are many, but in general it's for dehydration. We're going to rehydrate the animal by putting the fluid under the skin, and that gets absorbed over time, over a few hours, into the body and rehydrates the patient. The reason we give that to many cats is because of kidney failure. This is probably the #1 reason that we give fluids to a cat, and it's also the best thing you can do for your cat when there's a lot of built up toxins from the kidney failure. Your doctor will tell you how often and how much to give based on several parameters. We may have to check blood pressure and account for heart issues and things like that. And also the type of fluid may be different depending on the individual patient. So never do this on your own without direction of a veterinarian. The best place to do these things are in a confined area, and my favorite place is the bathroom. Why? Because there's light, there's a sink, and you can close the door and they won't be able to leave while you're working on them. Chasing the cat around and trying to do something to them, counterproductive. So we're going to do everything in the bathroom, and that's where we do our procedures. We're going to use some lactated ringers, a tube setup, and some needles. So the first thing you want to do is find yourself a sink that is a nice bowl like this. These are the best kind of sinks to use. The more shallow ones are a little harder to deal with. And we're going to close the door. And we're always going to use a towel because they get very cozy in the sink with the towel. So we're going to place that towel right in here. Now this little spigot here on a lot of sinks, you have the ability to do this and just turn them out of the way. That's helpful, not 100% necessary, but this is helpful. Now this is all set to go for a cat to come in here. Now I'm going to demonstrate. When you first start fluids, you're going to have a brand new bag. Your doctor will give you the right type of fluids. In this case, we're using lactated ringers. You're going to have a primary set, which is the drip set, how you deliver the fluids. And then you're going to have your needles. I usually use an 18 gauge needle, and that's the best one to use. So when you get your new bag, it has a little tab on the side there, and you're just going to rip that open and pull the bag out. Put that aside. Your new bag is going to have a little tab here. This is how you're going to plug in the drip set. So we're just going to pull this straight up. That starts the bag. Everything is sterile still. We want to maintain sterility. When you open this, you just pull this open. This entire tubing is sterile. It has two ends. This end has a spike on it. That's going to go into the fluid bag. And the other end is going to have where your needle's going to go. There's a port for injections. If you need to give your cat injections, I usually put it here. It also has a knurled knob that allows you to open and close the fluids. This shuts it down, it pinches it off, and this opens it up full bore. These drip sets also have a little clampy thing on here that you can use if you want to shut off the fluids like that. But I usually prefer to use the knurled knob. Don't forget to open that when you give the fluids. Okay, so this is still a fully contained, sterile tubing. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we have our bag and we have our spike. So I'm going to take the spike cover off. It's still sterile unless you touch it or spit on it or something. And we're going to drive that straight into the bag, like so. The biggest error with that is you will accidentally poke through the bag here with that spike. So maintain straight tubing like this and shove it straight in there like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do, you can leave this cap on and turn it over, and you'll see that it's going to fill up. It'll stop at the end of the cap. just like that. This is your bulb. This will allow you to see the fluids go through there. And what I like to do is squeeze on it till it's about halfway. There's actually a little line here. So you squeeze on it and that pulls some fluid in and allows you to see the column of fluid going down while you're doing the fluid treatment. If it, for some reason, it's full to the top and you do that, and that happens sometimes, you can turn it over and squeeze it back into the bag. We're still completely sterile. Now I'm going to lay this bag down. The column of fluid has gone all the way down to the very tip. I'm going to lay this down and I'm going to close the knurled knob all the way off. Okay, so now we're completely off. By the way, if there's any air bubbles in the tubing, this is absolutely no problem. Even if you pump some air under the skin, it's going to dissipate. Not a problem. Okay, so now we're going to attach our needle. These come completely sterile. You're just going to twist it to pop it off. That's where our hub is. We're going to now take this cap off by pulling it straight out, and we're going to just attach the needle like that. If you want, you can take this little lock and twist it on like so. Okay, now we're fully ready. The knurled knob is off. If you want to remove some of that air, you can by just opening the knurled knob all the way and letting it run to the tip of the needle. It might drip out a little bit, that's fine. We're going to turn it off again. Now you're fully contained and ready to go. Some people like to hang the fluids, and I find there's a real convenient place for that in a bathroom if you have a mirror or any kind of pointy glass item, and I just put that right over the edge, and that's a good place to hang it. Sometimes you can use a hook on the back of a door like that, but you don't necessarily have to do that. I'm going to show you in a little bit why you don't even need to hang it. So now we're ready for our cat. Okay, so this is our volunteer, Calliope. She's very brave. I usually hold the cat by the scruff of the neck. That gives you control. They don't feel it. You can lift them up, but you always want to support the butt, like that. Now we're going to put her in the sink. You're very cooperative. Good kitty. Okay, so now I'm right-handed, so I'm going to have to turn her the opposite direction. I hold the scruff and turn her around. She's a very good kitty. 75% petting, 25% treating is always what I say. Just be very kind to our little friend. So you're all ready to go. The needle is all ready to go, still sterile. You want to look for an area on the cat that's going to be right behind the head, right in the neck, right where you're about to scruff. So we like to do it between the shoulders, not too far down the back. So typically we're going to give fluids in this area, somewhat in the middle. So what people do is you want to lift the skin like you're going to scruff the cat, and then you can use your finger to find where you're going to go. It's like a little tent. The needle is going to go in the skin and be under the skin and not within the skin, not through the skin into your finger, and not into the spine of the cat. So the goal is to get it right under the skin, and you can feel your finger where it should be. If you push your finger in here and feel that. Okay? So now we're ready to go. This is mind over matter. It doesn't hurt the cat. So now I'm going to poke where I'm going to go and just go straight in like that. She didn't even feel anything. Make a note of where your fluid level is. You'll see that right now this is a new bag, so it's at 0. When it goes down to 1, that's 100 milliliters. There's a liter in this bag. So typically we'll treat with 100 at a time. Okay? So right now we're on 0. So now we're ready to go. All I do is lift this up, and you're going to want to move this out of the way because there'll be a crimp there if it's sitting long enough, and you want to uncrimp that so that it's a nice tube. That's important because otherwise it's going to go very slowly. Now you can see right here it's dripping as it's going right now. This is going to take you 3 times as long to get down to the 1. What you want to do is take this off and squeeze the bag. Take a look now at the column. It's going very fast and straight in. So when you're down to the 1, I'll lay this flat. I'm going to turn off the knurled knob all the way down, and then you're going to pinch around where the needle is to hold the hole. And I pull it straight out. I have my cap ready. I pull it straight out, and you put it right back in the cap like that. And that way it stays sterile if you want to use it again. Now you can use it again on the same patient. Some people choose to use a new needle. Now, I'm pinching right here to hold off the fluids. If a little bit leaks out, that's no problem. That's normal. Now the cat has received the fluids. She's ready to go. And we pat her and say, thank you for your brave volunteerism. Calliope. And then you can let the cat go. Thank you. It's Dr. Steve Weinberg demonstrating subcutaneous fluids in a cat. I know you can do it.